I've been covering Brawl Stars since day one of the beta. I've played it since the very beginning, and we have seen some huge ups and downs in the game. From losing Mortis's hat to it coming back eventually to the landscape update, there have been a lot of major changes made to the game, but there is one change that the team has made recently that I think needs to get walked back sooner rather than later. Now, if you've been keeping up on everything I've been talking about on social media and the polls that I've been putting out, then you probably know what I'm going to be talking about today, but for those of you that don't, I'm going to be talking about the Solo Showdown Life Leech mod. It was such a quietly done change that most of you guys probably didn't even know that it was removed until after it stopped appearing in the rotation of mods. For those of you that actually have never played Life Leech, basically the idea was that you'd constantly lose HP and that you'd only be able to get HP back through brawler abilities or through actually attacking opponents. When you first hear about it, it really doesn't sound like it's that impactful of a change. It really doesn't sound like it's going to be that big of a deal. Just a fun and unique way to play the game that's different from your normal showdown matches. How important could it really be? Well, as it turned out, it actually solved the most important issue facing Solo Showdown today, which is teaming. We've all seen the videos. We all know how bad teaming can get in Solo Showdown and how unstoppable a team can actually be. So how does this mod actually fix teaming? Well, in Life Leech, teaming is no longer the best strategy anymore. You have to have the biggest HP pool possible to be able to be affected the least amount by the decaying HP, which means that you're going to be going up against a lot of other people to be able to get power-ups to get farther in the match. Occasionally, you might run into a team of two, but very, very quickly, the HP pools will go down fast enough that it becomes a better idea to actually take out the teammate than to continue on with them. Pretty much from an objective stance, the best strategy is to actually play aggressively as a solo player, outplay your opponents, and then get a lot of power-ups so you don't go down early on the outskirts of the map. You can't play passively because then you'll get knocked out. It just isn't possible. In my opinion, it's really the only way to get a proper competitive Solo Showdown match in because it's the only way you're actually going to be forced into 1v1 situations where a team can't really gang up on you. In literally every other mod, there's a significant amount of teaming. You guys know, even in Meteor Showdown, there's a lot of teams that happen, and even though the Meteors are supposed to target players that are teaming, they don't do it significantly enough to actually stop teaming. So Life Leech effectively is the only way to really stop teaming in Solo Showdown. So from the outside looking in, without knowing any further details on the situation, you might be wondering why Life Leech was removed, and it's a pretty simple answer, albeit one that I'm really not too happy with. In a recent AMA, Ryan, the community manager for Brawl Stars, if you guys don't know, actually told us that it was largely because the actual health decay mechanic was confusing to new players and broke core gameplay mechanics. I just can't get behind that answer. There are a lot of other mechanics in this game that break it at a fundamental level. For instance, your first match against Leon, you're not going to expect the little chameleon dude to just pop up out of nowhere and destroy you. There's no way as a new player that's not read into all of the different abilities and supers in this game that you're going to expect that to happen. Likewise, with a recent change to Gene, you can literally get pulled through a wall. Now, before you had to either destroy the wall or throw something over the wall, which makes a lot of sense, but getting pulled through a wall is unprecedented in this game. I'd even go so far as saying the first time you experience an opponent's super that allows them to fly like Piper or Crow, you're probably going to be really confused by it because you can't hit them for the time that they're in the sky, and they're going to come down and be able to do damage to you. It's a very, very confusing experience for players that don't know it's possible. And I would never argue that you should actually remove these experiences from the game. In fact, I'd argue the opposite, that these variations in experiences mean people are going to be sticking with the game for the long term. They have so many different things that they can experience when they're playing that maybe they'll stick around longer than they would have otherwise. Of course, new players need to be catered to. We all know that, retention in the past has been a pretty significant issue with Brawl Stars, and we all know that that's something that the team needs to take into account. So if a lot of new players are confused by something, then they probably need to take a second look at it. But where do they draw the line exactly? Between the addition of auto-aim, projectile sizes being increased, and the removal of tap to shoot, there are a lot of things that have been changed for new players. And I can totally get behind all of those changes, and I understand why they happen. But if you look at the significance of Life Leech being removed as a Solo Showdown mod, I think you'll agree that the cost outweighs the benefit. In a recent poll, over 70% of players said that Showdown is their favorite game mode, And a poll after that actually indicated that over 50% of those players say that Life Leech was their favorite showdown mod. So effectively, by removing Life Leech as a possible mod in showdown, they've removed over 1/3 of the player base's favorite game mode. So let's talk about solutions. Let's make it a little bit easier for people to understand why their health is draining from the beginning of the match, and I think that there's a very, very simple one that may have possibly been overlooked. So if we're going purely by players that don't read the description and just jump into showdown matches and get confused as to why they're losing health, you'd realize that just changing the name to Life Drain would immediately make it so you understand that you're going to be losing health from the beginning of the match. So then the question goes from, why am I losing HP from the start of the match? Am I poisoned or something? To how do I regain my HP? And it's much easier to figure out that you can attack other players and get your HP back through actual gameplay than figure out you're not actually poisoned and that your health is just draining like everybody else's from the start of the match. Please, Supercell, if you're watching this video, consider re-adding the Life Leech mod. In so many situations in the past, there have been solid reasons to do things even against what the community wanted at the time. But in this case, I think the cons outweigh the pros, and I really hope that you'll reconsider. And if you, person who's watching, want Life Leech back, please go to Twitter and tweet at them with the hashtag #BringBackLifeLeech, because that's the only way we can really show that as a community, we really do want this game mode back. It's the only way to stop teaming in the truest sense, and I really think that it's the best way for everybody to be experiencing solo showdown at a high trophy level. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know down in the comment section below if you have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see on the channel. I will see you in the next one. Till then, peace.